So much media, so little time. Who keeps track of it all? That would be me. This is Bob Andelman, and this is a Mr. Media interview, recorded live on blogtalkradio.com from the new media and American League Baseball capital of the world, St. Petersburg, Florida. It takes a certain kind of woman to play Angela, Sam's mother-in-law, on the hysterical new CBS sitcom Worst Week. Nancy Lenehan is that woman. One week, she and her husband, the judge, are getting busy under his desk. Another week, she rides a cello down a flight of stairs. Oh, and did you happen to see the one where Sam walks in on her in the gynecologist's office and sees her, and then writes a magazine column about it? Lenehan has been a guest star on dozens of hit sitcoms over the years, ranging from Everybody Loves Raymond and Malcolm in the Middle to The New Adventures of Old Christine, and she's Earl Hickey's mother on My Name is Earl. To me, Worst Week is one of those shows, like The Office or even Seinfeld, that marches to its own rhythm and needs time to find its audience. It is slapstick funny and yet has great moments of warmth and tenderness like no other sitcom on the air today. If you haven't watched it yet, you should. You should watch it now, as a matter of fact. Actually, wait until the end of this interview. Worst Week airs on Mondays at 9:30 p.m. on CBS and has its season finale on February 16th. Nancy, welcome to Mr. Media.
Well, thank you. I'm delighted to be invited.
We have such a good time in our house watching Worst Week that I'm really glad that you're able to come on. I'm looking forward to chatting with you about it.
Oh, one of the things about the show that's really fun for me is knowing that a family can watch it. I mean, it seems like my friends will say, "Oh, my 13-year-old son, he can't believe what's going on there," and then and my grandfather loves it. So it has sort of broad appeal, which I like. So I'm glad you liked it.
Well, it's funny, we never intended, I've got a 12-year-old daughter, and we never intended for her to watch the show with us, but I think the episode, and it was a very early episode, was when Dick's bird dies. And yeah, right? And just thinking about it, we started laughing. And Sam goes to the pet store and meets the owner of the store. Right, and he's not in control, but he's telling. Now I can't remember who says it. I think it's the parrot who says, "I am the master." And she heard us. She actually woke up hearing us laughing so hard, and using the digital video, we kept playing that over and over and over again, and there was just no keeping her from the show after that. And,
oh good. Well, yeah, it's just we're having so much fun, and when I watch the show, it's hard to watch your work, but when I watch the show, I realize that half of the time I'm trying not to laugh myself in the scene because Kyle Bornheimer makes me laugh so hard that I've got my fingernails embedded in my palm, like, oh God, please don't laugh, time is money. He's brilliant, he's genius. So we're having a real good time doing this.
I think there's been once or twice where my wife has said, "I think she's laughing."
I think your wife probably was right. I had one of the the DP came up to me and said, "Okay, now wait, was that you laughing or was that Angela laughing?" I was like, "Well, it's hard to tell. It looks real, right?" Oh.
Well, and
hello?
Hello?
Hello? We broke up a little there.
Are you still there, Angela?
I'm here.
Hey, Angela, listen to me. I just said Angela. No, Nancy.
That's okay.
I was going to say, your TV son-in-law saw your private parts. Now, that must have been really fun to film.
Oh, I was mortified. I was like, when I read that in the script, I thought, wait, should they have checked with me first on this? I was a little nervous, but of course, it was like, well, we had lots of things, lots of screens and mirrors going on at that moment. So it was very funny. It's just hilarious. They have really had fun. They write for Angela very, very nicely. I've been very lucky to come in with some good storylines, and And just it's fun. And of course, I knew Kurtwood from before, way before, like we were old buddies. And when I heard that he was playing, my husband, the dad, I was like so tickled, because then it felt so comfortable. We didn't have to go, "Hi, how are you? I'm going to be your wife," for the next hopefully 5 years. But so he's dreamy to work with.
Did you do an episode of that '70s show?
I did. It was a little quick thing. It was I can't remember how it's, again, somebody's mother, but I didn't end up having a scene with Kurtwood. He wasn't in that scene, but I've known him from other things, theater things in Los Angeles. So we went way back. But yeah, lots of mothers to play on that TV show. It's fun.
Now, I wanted to ask you. Angela is kind of one of all at the same time, one of the wildest, sweetest, and funniest mother-in-laws in TV history. She's got to be. I mean, but has Angela changed much since you read the first script?
That's a good question. When I read the first script, the description of her, there was a little bit of I think it said she might be drinking a little now and again. And I remember thinking, okay, well, so she's a little tipsy, I guess. That was my first. I think it was a description of her. Maybe the British production of it. Maybe she was more of maybe she was a tippler. I don't know, because I never saw the British series that this was based on. But so I think there was a little bit of dinginess that implied to me, although not depressed. I sort of described it to Kyle as saying, she's a little too happy, a little too sad. That was my way of playing that. I didn't want her stumbling or, slurring or anything. And then that kind of got thrown out. And then there were elements to this character that got sort of laid on as layers. That suddenly I found more Gracie Allen moments where, the thing is that Kyle's character, Sam, is such a mischief maker that if he was played by anyone else, it might be annoying, but he's so adorable that you can't be mad at him. Mm-hmm. So my approach was always to, take the high road and say, "Oh, isn't he cute? I'm sure he's going to be able to fix all these problems someday." And he starts to swirl us into his madness. But to get back to the question, has it changed? Once we started filming, the writers would write something, and I go, "Oh, okay. And what if we add that to it and that to it?" And then suddenly this character gets more layers and builds a little bit. But Angela's kind of based on a little bit of every mother I know. And people come up and say, "Oh my God, that's just like my mother. Oh my God, my mother would do that." So that's very encouraging.
There's definitely layers there, and the reason I asked the question is it seemed as the season continued, and we got to see different situations. Like for a few weeks, we thought that Sam and Mel, maybe they live in that house because they never seem to leave the house. But that was good, It was good. It was a little confusing, but it was good in that we got to see more of Angela and Dick in their kind of a natural setting. And when you're in somebody's house with them, you certainly get to find out what they're like.
Well, it was funny. I remember there was one scene sort of later on, and I think it might have been episode. We did 16 this first season, so it may have been episode like 13. So we were kind of well into the season, and the character of Dick's character walks into the kitchen, and the producers say, "Why isn't he wearing a suit?" And the costume says, "Oh, I thought he was retired." And we all started to laugh. It's like, yeah, of course you'd think that. We never leave the house. We're turning into Ozzie and Harriet right before you realize, what do they do? One of the nice things about this show is that the writers are so approachable, and I could go up to them and I say, "Oh, listen, I really think that Angela is probably studying to be a docent at the museum. So therefore, Sam can get into trouble over at the museum. We're all coming in with story ideas." And I took them aside and said, "Now, don't tell Erin, who plays my daughter. Don't tell Erin I told you this, but she really loves bird calls." Of course, Aaron's like, you told them what? I don't want to be doing bird calls in the next episode. So we're having a lot of fun. The cello episode actually was based on a request. I walked in and said that, yes, in fact, my husband had given me a cello for our anniversary, along with lessons, because he knew that I'd always wanted to learn to play the cello. So for the past year, I, Nancy Lenehan, have been here in this house where I live making the most horrendous noises with this cello. And I went and I said, wouldn't it be great if Angela, tries to play the cello, but of course she's terrible and she doesn't know she's terrible and everybody has to endure this. And they went, okay, good news is we're going to put the cello, but the bad news is you're not going to play it. Your daughter's going to play it. But I said, I don't care, whoever, as long as we get a cello in there and, they're so approachable, which is great. The writers are they're so terrific. So I think that, the character probably changed as a result of, the writers kept throwing stuff at us and we would run with it. And so it was really fun. And I love playing this character. I hope we get to do some more of it.
Well, and I'm gonna come back to that in a little bit. I want to talk, but I got to ask you about the cello.
Okay.
We're assuming that was not you riding down the staircase on the cello.
Well, from one angle it was.
Okay.
And from another angle it wasn't. The stunt, the people who are doing the special effects and the stunts on this show are amazing. Every week we'd get a script and I would look at that and I would say, quietly to myself, oh, right, how are they going to pull this off? And every week we would come in, and they do something more amazing than you can even imagine. Now, the cello was sweet. They had rigged up this, it was like a track that you kind of, like a sled, like you're sliding down a hill and in the snow. And so the one camera angle, of course, my face, is I'm really sliding down on this track. But then, of course, the reverse was a very talented stunt double who had no fear. And so it's
very convincing to watch.
It was good, right? They cut it together very nicely, I think. People ask me that. Wait a minute.
There have been so many great stunts. And you don't think of a sitcom for stunts, but, there's you on the cello. There's Sam in the midst of all the broken glass jumping up and grabbing the chandelier and swinging to the door.
Oh, I know.
And I also seem to recall you being covered with mud.
Yes, that was early on. Got a little bit of a little root spray into the water. I love that stuff. That's my favorite kind of comedy, the slipping, sliding, falling down. And you're right, you don't get to do that very often. That's not, and especially women of a certain age. Nobody wants to see you fall down. They're afraid you're going to hurt yourself. And you're going, no, really, I can do this. I can fall down. There was when we started this show, I was thinking this character to me is a little bit like Margaret Dumont in the the Marx Brothers movies, where there's all this madness going, but she's sort of in the middle of this going, what's going on? I said a little bit of Tipper Gore, a little bit of Gracie Allen, a little bit of Margaret Dumont, like all this, and a little Edith Bunker, just sort of swirl it all in there, and that's it's Angela. So
that's the Edith Bunker. I hadn't thought about that until you just mentioned it.
Just a little bit. Edith Bunker in better shoes.
Well,
but it's fun.
It's kind of that mix of a little bit of dingbat and a lot of sweetness and I can see.
But she's got to hold that household together. So it's we're trying to. It's early on that was a real concern of mine was. Okay, I do not want to be all disapproving of Sam because that's going to get so tiring. And besides which, you've got a lot of grumbling from the father. And, if we're all grumbling, there's what somebody's got to go, okay. Somebody's got to smile through this. So.
Has there been anything that they have come to you that's been too extreme? That you've said, no, I either can't say that. After the vagina episode, I'm guessing no.
You think, right? How far could we?
Right?
No. That's a good question. Is there anything that I said not too far? Not really. I think the only time that I may have dug my heels in was when they wanted me to do something that was of the... A couple moments where I thought the reaction they were asking for was too angry and disapproving. I didn't think it was the funny choice or the loving choice that that scene needed. That was a couple nights where I'd say, yeah, I will do it because you've asked, but can we also try one where it's not that? Because that doesn't feel right to me. So that's really the only thing. Yeah, once you've done the stirrups, it's like, what's left? An episode of Nip Tuck,
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Then we're on to another. Then we're doing cable or something. So.
It would be an interesting show if it was on HBO, wouldn't it?
It would be the accidents would be a lot more dangerous, huh?
Yeah. Although it doesn't seem like there's much, topicality that has not been broached. We would see more, well,
yeah, that's true.
I know what we would have seen in the one scene with you and Sam in the gynecologist's office.
Well, we also would have seen when he was out that glass, we would have seen probably a lot of blood. He would have been cut very badly, but yeah, and who knows what Olympia Dukakis would have done. See, but anyway, that's another show.
Well, let me. I want to open this up. If any of our listeners want to call and talk to you, if you've got a comment or question for Nancy Lenehan, one of the stars of CBS's wonderfully wacky sitcom Worst Week, give us a call 646-595-3135, or you can ask a question in the live web chat that accompanies the interview. As a matter of fact, we have one here. Margot Lane wants to know, did Ms. Lenehan know much about the physical slapstick nature of the show before getting the role, and has it proved daunting in that it's a different kind of comedy?
No, I wasn't. I didn't know how much of that there would be for my character when I signed on or when they invited me to be a part of that family. But I find that to be one of the best parts of the role. So I've really enjoyed figuring it out. Like those kind of it's like problem solving, and that's one of the fun aspects of being an actor, when you get to solve those kind of problems. I mean, there was an episode, I think it may have been the last one that aired, where Kyle and I had to figure out how to walk down the hall, where he had to kind of elbow me into the wall or into the bathroom. He had to kind of, so we that sort of physical, how do we solve this? Okay, what if I do this and you do that? And that is so much a part of the pleasure of playing this character. And with somebody like Kyle Bornheimer, where I'd say, Kyle, what should I do? You're a genius. Kyle, just tell me what to do. You're so brilliant. And then the director, of course, we listen to the director a little. But, no, I hope I answered your question, Margot. But it truly is, to me, one of the best parts of the job.
Well, I have a number of clips from the show that I want to play during the conversation. This one, it's just about a minute long. This is from a very early episode. Sam and Erin, who plays your daughter on the show, Mel, they apparently have slept in in Mel's bedroom at her parents' house, and so this is what happens. This is between them, and then Nancy comes in at the end of this. So let's give a listen to this.
Oh my God! I really shouldn't be in here.
We're getting married tomorrow, honey. I don't think your dad's gonna be that upset, do you?
Okay, I gotta get back to my room. You try to get some sleep.
Yeah, right. Our parents are meeting today. This has huge potential for disaster.
We're just going to lunch.
That's more than enough time for things to go wrong. You were at a birthday party.
Oh, I thought your dad's rap was funny.
It was humiliating and unintentionally but inarguably racist.
Okay. So they're different.
They're more than different. Your mom does air kisses. My mom goes for full-on mouth.
Well, it wouldn't be so bad if she didn't hold you there for a second. Look, it'll be fine. It's one meal. And we won't order appetizers. Or dessert. Oh, Mom! Wow, Melanie and Clayton. Yeah, I fell asleep in there by mistake. I don't care, silly. You're getting married tomorrow. You're getting married tomorrow.
It's very sweet. I mean, your character is just, she's a little daft, but she's so sweet. Who wouldn't love this woman?
Well, I'll tell you, Bob, it's I so much enjoy the actors that are playing those roles and the characters that they have created that it's a little too easy. So I'm giving my paycheck back. It's just not right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I just literally, it sounds simple, but I go to work and I end up just enjoying watching what's going on all around me. And she's amazing, that Erin Hayes. She makes it look so easy, and she's a really good actor. I mean, I'm just having a ball. I'm just effusively enjoying them.
Yeah, you have to give credit to Erin. I mean, she plays more of the traditional straight man role pretty much to everybody, whether it be Kyle or you or Kurtwood. She doesn't get all the funny slapstick moments, but she's
funny.
Exactly.
It's true. She keeps it real. There are always a few laugh out loud moments, and the last episode where she's like throwing that tape in the garbage. She's and I feel like, next season they're going to write more and more. They're going to see her more at work, and she's got this very dry. She's just hilariously funny, and she's very subtle. I'm crazy about her. She's wonderful.
It was funny. We were very surprised to find that she had a career, and I guess that's because she's a veterinarian. She has her own office.
Yeah.
And it does seem like it seems like this last couple episodes of the season, and as we're talking, the final episode has not aired. It was supposed to air tonight, and it's been preempted by President Obama, and it will air. I want to repeat this to everybody: February 16th, 9:30 p.m. Make sure you catch it. But yeah, there's been a lot of setup.
Yeah, exactly. And we're learning more and more. Towards the end there, and it was got richer and richer. I think that the episodes just got better and better, and I hope we get to do more. So everybody, make a phone call or write a letter or something.
Absolutely. Now, Angela, on top of all these other things we've said about her, is a very passionate woman, something we also discovered as the season went on. Tell all of us, what is it like making out with Kurtwood Smith?
Oh, well, gee whiz, what is it like? Well, he's very hot, don't you think? That's easy.
I may not be the best one to judge.
Well, he's dreamy. I think Kurtwood Smith is dreamy, and he's got the whole thing going on. He's funny, he's warm and charming, and he's very generous. He's a very generous actor when you're working with him. And I have a little, crush on him in all the right ways. I can say that my husband. Don't want him to get nervous, but he's just a doll.
He's been, I think he's been a big surprise to people who've watched the show and who may have seen him a bit on that '70s show, where he was always very snarky, and it was really a one-note character on that '70s show. He was always, kind of crass, and he really didn't have an emotional side for his kids. And here
he's very classy. He's got a very elegant. There's a lot of who Kurtwood is in this character, because he's very elegant, very well educated, very he's not flap. He's not easy to get off balance. But and then when he loses it, when he's stuck outside in his pajamas, it's just wonderful. It's wonderful. These little quiet surprises. I just think he's great.
Speaking of Kurtwood being caught outside in his pajamas, I just happen to have that clip.
What?
I want to play it.
Gee, you'd think we'd planned this.
It's like we rehearsed, and we never did.
We didn't.
All right, so this is and this fits in with what we were talking about a minute ago about Mel and her veterinary office. She invites you. The setup for this clip is that she invites you to come and spend a day working in her office, and this is part of that conversation. I hope I have the right clip. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
It's his day off, and we have a list of chores a mile long. And when we do the chores, he reads the paper, and I do the cooking, the cleaning, and the ironing, and I'm afraid nothing would get done.
Oh, nonsense. I'd be fine. If you want to work, work.
Well, I'm in. Could you hurry? I don't want to keep my new boss waiting.
I'm trying. I'm not very good with jewelry.
Here, you know what? Give it to me. I am good with jewelry.
Thank you, Sam. Mom, you look amazing. But what are you dressing for? Most of my patients are cats with diarrhea. Oh, no matter. In my mind, I'm Jane Fonda in 9 to 5.
There you go, Jane. See, it's actually very easy. There's a little latch there, and you got...
Oh, I am so excited. Candy, our office dog, might have her puppies today.
Mm-hmm.
Puppies. Oh. Are you sure you're going to be okay?
I'll be fine.
Oh, I was going to make a chicken.
I'll do that. Angela, don't worry about me.
All right, bye, Dad.
But, we're not doing that yet. Okay, see.
It's at the end there. Kurtwood says he's talking to Kyle Bornheimer as Sam, and they haven't quite gotten married yet. They've just, I guess, they've just recently, up to this point, found that their daughter was pregnant and engaged, which they didn't know. And it's interesting over the season how Kurtwood and Angela actually. I'm sorry, and I know I'm confusing actors and
yeah, don't call us whatever you want. We are Nancy, Angela, whatever. It's fine.
Basically, Dick and Angela have go from at the beginning of the season calling Sam Mel's friend.
Yeah,
right. Which is always good. Oh, Angela, Mel's friend is here. And I'm not even trying to imitate the man. And then here, Sam is trying to be more comfortable with his in-laws and calling Kurtwood Dad, and of course he says we're not doing that yet. Now, one of the greatest scenes in the show's short history, and this may, in my mind, this is probably the best scene on TV this year. People who watch Lost may argue with me about this, but this is Angela's reaction to seeing Sam carrying a supposedly dead Dick, his new father-in-law, into the house. I could not find the audio clip of this, and I know this is terrible of me to ask, but I wondered if you could recall for us some of the dialogue from that scene. The fact that you're laughing indicates, I think, that you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I can't recall the dialogue, but what's making me laugh about it is that the reality of him dragging in this man who I think is, you know, my dead husband, you know, just the horror of that, the true horror of that, to keep holding on to that and not beam out and look at what's funny about Kyle doing this. But that to me was so much fun to play. Again, I'm sort of repeating myself, but you know, it was just that's all I could think of was, oh, the stunning horror of what he's doing. That was all, and it was people respond. People seem to like that moment, that little shrieking faint, and it sure was fun to do.
My wife and daughter know that scene by heart.
Oh, well, then they can do it for us.
I wish I could get them on here to do that, but I basically, for people who haven't seen it, this is another reason you have to see this show. You go to CBS.com, look up Worst Week, and watch the episodes. But in this particular episode, Dick, who plays Angela's husband, Nancy Lenehan's husband on the show, is feeling tired. He's had a bit of an accident with his head, and he's downtown, and he goes into the undertaker's office where they know him, and he asks if he can lie down for a little while. And he goes in the back, and he lies down on one of their gurneys, and it's a lot. I don't want to give it all away, but anyway, after a while, he feels better. He wakes up, and he drives home. On the drive home, Sam is driving to go get him, hits him with his car, knocks him out again, and drags him under the armpits back into the house. Angela and Mel think that he's dead, and Angela's coming, I think you're coming into the room, and you see him, and you start screaming at him,
take him back, take him back, take my husband's body back, yes.
Yes.
It sounds very complicated, and when you're telling it, I'm thinking, how could you ever film something like that? But we did, and it's somehow it all flows together.
It was just so funny. I mean, you just, take him back to the Undertaker, and then of course he wakes up, and then she faints.
Oh. The pilot, doing the pilot, I remember the scene when he comes in the door wearing his garbage bag. I only knew Kyle about 4 or 5 days at this point because and that scene we couldn't get through it. We kept laughing and laughing, and they said, "Okay, that's a lunch break. Everybody just go away because obviously we're not going to get through this because we're laughing so hard." We go, we have lunch. An hour later, we come back, we stand there, they say, "And action," and we all go. And they're like, "Oh no, we're not laughing anymore. We are, it was the hardest thing I've ever had to do that without laughing. He was so funny."
There's so many great scenes from the show, and one of the disservices, unfortunately, I think that CBS has done with the show is apparently they're not watching the show because if they were, they'd be using some of these many clips that we've been talking about during the week to promote it or on the web.
I know, don't you think? I agree with you on that, but then again, I'm not making those kind of decisions. So
no, I know, but I have to say, because I'm independent, I have to say that somebody's not watching the show or just doesn't get it because there are so many incredibly funny moments that should be played up.
They could pull those out and just let me, little teasers. I know that'd be good.
These would be wonderful viral video moments. So I want to change gears a little bit, if you're okay, time-wise. Before Worst Week, your last big appearance or ongoing appearance was that you are Earl Hickey's mom on My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, another.
How does that show compare to this one?
Oh, apples and oranges, or oranges and steak, or I don't.
Oranges and steak.
Yeah. Just another kind of fun. I mean, it's very, very, very zany over there, and I love Beau Bridges. It's not too shabby. He's just terrific and funny, and the character. I think it's very different than Angela. Maybe it looks exactly the same, but from inside it feels different. She's more blue collar and a little sloppier in her cookie making. But again, I had worked with Greg Garcia when he did. What was the show he did before? I should have been prepared. I should have had my little resume in front of me. But the show that Greg Garcia did before that. The sitcom. It was a multi-camera show, and I had worked with him on that. And he cast me as a swinger. It was very silly, and then ended up working with over at Earl. And I love that show. I love the size of those characters. I love the message at the end of the show. And when you first look at that show, if you don't know what you're seeing, it can look a little sort of trashy, and then. He always learns the most beautiful lessons by the end of the show, and he always learns something he doesn't expect to learn. So I think it's a very clever show, very fun, very irreverent. I mean, they just go for it.
Did that show in some way, directly or indirectly, lead to Worst Week?
I don't know. It's possible that because Worst Week is produced by NBC for CBS, it's all very complicated. I don't know how it works, and Earl is an NBC show, so perhaps maybe, but I don't know how these things happen. I feel like in Hollywood, everybody's kind of a gambler, and you've got your cup full of nickels, and sometimes you're at the baccarat table, but then sometimes you're not, and that I don't know if something. I think I like Kyle said. I think he said when he was talking with you the other day. I kind of just said yes to like everything. So just kind of when somebody said you want to do this, or yeah, sure, I'll see what that feels like. And so I don't know if it led to it. I'm sure just another credit there. That's I don't know. That's a good question.
I cheated. Was the show you were looking for, the Greg Garcia show, was that Yes Dear?
Yep. You cheated.
Okay.
That's not cheating. How did you do that? You found it. You like IMDb or something?
I did.
Good. Yes.
Oh, you try to be a gracious host and rescue the guest.
You're going to need to rescue me a lot. No, Greg Garcia is terrific. He's a very funny guy, and that's a great show.
Now, Earl, I think from what I've seen, and here again, I have looked on IMDb. It seemed like that's the show that you appeared on the most episodes of before Worst Week. Is that about right?
Well, I had a series called Married to the Kellys, which ran for a while with.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I see that. 20 episodes.
I should go on IMDb myself right now because I'm going to forget his name. And so I did that show. Yeah, it's so funny. The minute somebody asks me a question, like everything, my mind goes completely blank. I'm going, gee, did I ever do? No, I think Earl's my very first job ever. I think so. This is my second job.
Yep.
Yep.
And you were 21 when you did Earl.
That's right, 21.
Yeah.
And they put a lot of age makeup on me. Oof, I'm busy troweling that on.
And then the other show that you've done recently is Little Britain USA, which I have to admit I have not seen.
That's pretty crazy. That's pretty outrageous. You're not going to want to watch that with your whole family there.
Good. It's good to know that.
No, it's outrageous. That's like one of those. That's a crazy. I love that show, and I love the characters those guys come up with. But that's kind of that's a naughty show. You really want to. But it's very funny. Those guys are very talented. I loved it when they did the British version. So when they were doing the American version, I wanted to get a chance to be a part of that and meet those guys. So I felt very lucky to do that.
I see. And then another thing you've done more recently, or well, somewhat the same period of time, I guess, was you appeared in The Savages, which I did see. It was quite a movie.
Film. The film?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
That was Philip Seymour Hoffman and Laura Linney.
Laura Linney, and that was a real treat for me, again, because I love those guys. And I was surprised. I walked on the set, and they had there was a book they handed me that was Dementia for Dummies, and I thought, I did what you just did. I laughed. I said, whoa, man, what a prop department. That's incredible. He said, no, we went to the store and we bought that. And I was like, what? And so that sort of became my, there was a script. I had a script, but they also let me, improvise kind of after the words that were scripted were spoken. I kind of would veer off. I'd sort of open the book and talk about something. And so it was a real treat to do that, too. Yeah,
Philip Seymour Hoffman, not too shabby.
Not too shabby. He's really good. Oh, I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky that I've gotten to work with such terrific actors. And I tell you, at the top of the list is that Kyle Bornheimer. I think he's extraordinary. I really do. I say to people, yeah, he's funny. He's really funny. But he's one of the best actors I've ever worked with. Because he does things. He makes every word sound like it just came right out of his little mind there. You just don't see the paper. You don't see the script in his hand.
Well, and if you only saw the first couple episodes, you'd think that his whole career was just being a slapstick guy and being kind of, the guy that accents seem to happen to. But if you continue watching this show in particular, you see that there is a lot of depth there. He plays.
Oh, there's a lot of depth. Yeah, he really commits, and yeah, there is a lot of depth. I agree with you on that. He's just, he'll go to a feeling place very quickly. He's not guarded that way. It's really something to see. Yeah, he's good. Yay! I remember when my husband and I were watching television, we thought that commercial, T-Mobile's commercial came up, and we both sort of sat up a little straight, like, whoa, did you see that guy's funny? He was really stood out.
Now, Nancy, how has things changed for you this season? Having every week, you know where you're going to be. You've got a regular gig. You're not waiting for the phone to ring.
Well, I really liked it. My family was like, "Well, where'd you go, Mom?" It's like, we have errands for you to run. What? But I really enjoyed that. The continuity of that. I enjoyed it a lot. My dad is a little older, so it wasn't like I was leaving the infants, crawling around the floor. But I enjoyed that a lot. That was fun.
Is it difficult being known in the last couple of roles as a mom?
No. Oh, no. That's an interesting question. Is it difficult, and why would...
Oops.
Is it difficult? Like, what would be difficult? It's just a great role to play, a mother. Hello?
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm sorry.
No, it's like suddenly I heard there was a recording that I was hearing there for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't hear that. I heard a bit of my phone went dead for a second there, but you're at a place, because it's interesting. In any given picture of you, you look like you're from a range of ages. It seems like maybe on the show they dress you a little older, but then when I see other pictures of you from the last year or two, you look about 10 years younger, maybe.
No, you know what? I've been playing moms for forever, and it's my favorite thing to do. So I don't know what else is there. Bob, are there other parts I could be playing? Oh, I should know. Oh yeah, they're not moms.
Well, here's a very brief clip. This is you as mom.
Okay.
This is you've just turned on the light and found your TV son-in-law doing something really untoward. And I think you'll know what this is in a second. Here we go. Let's see.
By him.
I thought it was the powder room. I thought it was the powder room.
I think everybody...
Okay, it may have been a little muddled for people, but Sam was basically wandering in the dark and thought he was in the bathroom, and it turned out to be the kitchen and a giant pot of goose.
Yeah, and I'm sure that your wife would notice that I was laughing then as well. If she was guessing that one, she would have been right. Again, Kyle was so funny, running around with that goose after having peed on it, and then urinating on it, and then of course, in one of the takes, he slipped and fell.
Oh, right.
Did he mention that to you? Oh
no, but no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of when Kurtwood.
When we were filming that, one of the takes, he slipped and fell, and the thing broke, and there was broken glass everywhere, and this broad thing, and we're frozen. We're thinking, did he break something? Did he break himself? And he was like, no, I'm fine. Dusted himself off, and we got another goose, and we went on. But that was, that was crazy.
Now I think I saw the Goose episode after interviewing Kyle, so I have to ask you. I'm hoping that he's not a method actor where he felt like he actually had to pee on the goose.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Okay.
I think he's not that much of a method actor.
Just checking.
Yeah,
checking.
No, that was funny.
Wow. Now, so we've kind of come to that point where I want to ask you about something you've kind of referred to. The show, it did 13 episodes, then it got picked up for 3 more.
Yes.
And I'll repeat again that the season finale of Worst Week is on Monday, February 16th, 9:30 p.m. The show is ending a little early this season, as opposed to going maybe 22 or 23 episodes. When I talked to Kyle, the show had just been picked up for those 3 additional episodes.
That was like last fall, I guess. You talked with him then. Yeah.
Are you, how concerned are you? Have you gotten any reassurances from CBS that they're going to go a second season?
No, we're kind of in the dark on that. No, it's sort of perplexing because you know, who knows who makes those decisions, and when that decision will be made. And I think what they'll do is probably they'll look at some pilots and they'll decide. They don't really have to tell us now, so they wouldn't. Even if they were going to go another season, they might still not tell us for a while because they don't have to. That's just the rule of it. I think sometime in May. So we're keeping our fingers crossed, but we don't know. And I feel I have so much affection for this show, not just because it's a steady job, but I think it's probably the most fun I've ever had, and the character's fun to play, and I like the product. I'm proud of the product, so I really would like for it to go another season, but we're just, I have nothing to say about it. We're just kind of waiting around, so don't know.
I would hope. It is an interesting situation, as you mentioned before. The show airs on CBS, but it's produced by NBC. Mm-hmm. NBC, I think, has a greater track record of showering loving attention and patience on sitcoms that have shown a great potential, but didn't maybe find their audience in the first year. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that if CBS makes the wrong decision, that maybe NBC is standing in the wings to swoop in, and this would be a great show to add to Thursday night.
I never know that end of the business. And I could. It's fun to sit around and go, gee, I wonder if and what if, and then they could do that, and I find that just becomes, you just don't know who makes the rules, and when they change all the time, and if somebody likes it and then they go to another network, then that person who comes in says, I've got a new it's very complicated. And so I just keep my fingers crossed. That's as far as I can go. I have no idea what's going to happen. And I just, people come up to me and say they're really enjoying the show, and I believe them. I think they mean that, but we just have to wait and see. So.
Well, I have one more clip to play and one more thing to ask you about. This is the episode. This is the episode that I've mentioned once or twice, where Sam walks into the gynecologist's office and opens the door, and wonder of wonders, there's his mother-in-law. I guess I'm assuming in the stirrups, knees up, so to speak, and Sam opens the door and gets the wide shot. So this is actually later in the episode, after much embarrassment on everyone's part, and everyone's uncomfortable, and this comes at the end of the episode. I'm going to play this, and I want to ask you about this in a minute.
Okay.
So let's give this a try.
Mom? I never snort. I don't snort. This is very funny.
But the article, you like it?
Oh, it's a hoot. When you and the drapes. It's precious.
So you're not mad?
Oh, I was mad at first. I was actually probably more embarrassed than mad. But then I read it's not about me at all. It's about Sam. And how much I mean to him, and that's nice to read about.
Wow. My God. First of all, I'm glad I didn't offend you, because it wasn't ever meant to be, that was just, and second of all, I will never ever again mention your,
vagina.
Yes.
Wow. Mom, I'm impressed. Well, I'm reading this I've just been too uptight about this. And honey, I am sorry that I said I wouldn't be in the delivery room with you when you're having your baby.
Really?
Of course I'm going to be there. I'm going to be holding your hand. I'll be stroking your hair and rubbing your shoulder, and
no one's going to make you look down there, Mom.
Oh, honey, come on.
That's awesome. And just, I never intended to publish it. It was just written to kind of, so.
I know, dear.
Although if you seem so delighted by it, I don't know, would it be okay if I...
That'd be the last thing you ever did.
Oh, God, they have to bring that show back.
Oh, you're so sweet. We shot a scene when there's a scene that is going to air next week and it was the last scene that I knew that I was going to be filming of the season with Kyle. It was just the two of us, and he was. I didn't know whether I was going to cry because I was like, oh, bye, this is the last scene, or I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep a straight face because he was just making me laugh. So we sort of did the whole scene like looking at the top button of each other's shirt. Because every time I'd look up at his face, I'd start to laugh and say, "Oh, this is terrible. I'm never going to get through this." So you can see I'm very unprofessional. I think I've made that perfectly clear after 30 minutes of telling you how much I'm giggling through the whole thing.
You are as delightful as I expected that you would be.
Oh, I'm a Florida girl. I grew up in Florida.
Is that right? Where did you grow up?
Stewart. You know that, on the East Coast?
Yeah, I sure do. My car broke down there once.
Oh, well, there you go. There's a Bermuda Triangle there. That's how everybody's car breaks down. And that's, I'm a Florida girl, and I'm going to hopefully get there in a couple of weeks. So it's really a treat to get to talk with you. I'm so delighted that you invited me.
Well, same here, and I appreciate your time, and I want to tell everybody again that the season finale of Worst Week airs February 16th, 9:30 p.m., but you can catch up on any episodes you missed, or you can start at the beginning at www.cbs.com. And meanwhile, you can also catch Nancy Lenehan in episodes of My Name is Earl and Little Britain, USA. Nancy, it's been a great time. It went way too fast, and thanks so much for joining us on Mr. Media today.
Thank you so much, Bob. It was my pleasure.
All right.
I'll
much
talk
good
to
luck.
you soon, I hope.
I hope so, too.
All
Take
right,
care.
bye.
Bye-bye. And for more great TV star interviews, pardon me, surf over to our main website, www.mrmedia.com. That's mrmedia.com, where you can listen to my earlier conversations with the stars of Chuck and, of course, Kyle Bornheimer of Worst Week, Psych, Curb Your Enthusiasm, The Starter Wife, Knight Rider, My Name is Earl, and many more. Please think about writing an online review of Mr. Media, casting a vote for Mr. Media, or marking Mr. Media as one of your favorites, whether you listen on Blog Talk Radio, Pointer Online, Digital Journal, Podcast Pickle, Vox, Folio, Mediafly, Podfeed.net, Blueberry, Zencast, or Odeo. And subscribe to Mr. Media on iTunes, and you'll never miss a show. Just search Mr. Media Interviews from within iTunes and subscribe for free. You can also subscribe to Mr. Media on the new Kindle Player. That's right, Amazon Kindle Reader. You can find Mr. Media on there. And, of course, you can always listen with a piece of string in a tin can in many locations. If you've got an idea for a guest, email me directly at bob@andelman, ANDELMAN.com. And you can also follow me on Facebook or on Twitter, www.twitter.com/Andelman. Thank you so much for joining me today. I always appreciate when you give up a little piece of your day to spend it with us.